Good morning. It is Friday, March 21st. I'm Richard. This is Lap of the World, and this is your Friday coffee. Grab your favorite cup of joe and buckle up. So yeah, welcome back to another Friday coffee installment here. For those who are new to this series of videos, we're kind of using this as a long form, I guess a third checkpoint in a week, so I can kind of just connect with you guys and my audience. And as part of that, we're using it kind of as a long-term or slow burn question and answer session. So I will be answering, in this video, I'll be answering questions from last week, and if you would like your own questions answered the following Friday, leave them in the comments down below, and I will read them dutifully. But we'll start today's video, as we have the last couple, with a quick overview of what we've done already this week. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching the couple of videos that we put out, including the G2 how-to video. That is the more, I don't know what we would call that, the practical side of Lap of the World, where we try and share the information that somebody might want to know before they go and visit a track themselves that they haven't been to before. So it's the logistics and, where to stay, where to eat, where you can find gas. Racetracks inevitably are often kind of like out in the middle of nowhere, so this can be information that is not as obvious as you might think. Or you can have, some pro tips. I know we went to Coda a few years ago and there was a gas station that looks like it's right next to the track, but they were gouging you on the prices. The gas inside the track was cheaper than the gas outside the track, but if you didn't know that, you'd probably go over there and pay $7 a gallon because you didn't know any better. Anyway, so we did our how-to G2, and then we also did a short-form how-to video for G2. The goal of that was really, talking a little bit of YouTube shop for a second, the goal of that was to kind of experiment with how effective a short form, given that, everybody ends up doom scrolling through their shorts and reels feeds and stuff like that. But if somebody was caught a track enthusiast in there, scrolling through and they're like, how to G2 Motorsports Park. Oh, I've been thinking about going there. Let me watch this. They would click on that, probably not get as much information as they wanted to out of it, but then be able to link out to the full-length video where you can actually be a little more complete, thorough with information. That's been kind of a bust so far. I will probably try it again another couple of times before I call it a dud. But I don't know. Obviously, the intent was not for it to be a video offering on its own, but more of an attention grabber to then point people to the real information on the full length video. But I don't know. We'll keep playing with it. But for data point for those of you who also have channels out there. I'd be curious if anything like that has worked for you. But moving on, we then had an NSX car wash public service announcement. And about every year this time, we have a flock of new owners, some veterans as well, jump on the Facebook groups and forums and whatever else, and in a mild state of panic because they were looking forward to enjoying their car this year, but they've got this misfire they can't explain. And those who know will generally ask the question first of, hey, did you wash it? And then with the typical affirmative answer, you kind of go down the cause and effect tree from there. But one of the very few foibles of these old first generation NSXs, you can definitely cause yourself a little bit of headache with some poor hose water discipline, I guess, during a wash without some preventative measure taken. So that we covered all those bases in that video. And then, so then that brings us here to the video that you're watching this week. All of a sudden, there were too many S's there. Sorry. It's early. But with that, let me, again, apologies for reading my screen here a little bit. We will move on to the Q&A segment of today's video, where we're going to answer some questions from last week. Now, one here I will skip over because I think we've hopefully established at this point that Lap of the World is, the goal of this channel is we're kind of playing racetrack Pokemon here, but it's with road courses. We work with what we've got. Our cars are not really suited for ovals or drag strips. I mean, they would do a drag strip, but they're definitely not the right tool for the job, if that makes sense. Or optimal tool for the job, I should say. So no, we will not be doing Pass of the World, I don't think, anytime soon. But moving on from that, we did get a couple of questions that I can sort of answer, and one that I will continue to tease. But working backwards in that, actually, we'll hit the highlight, the one that first that I'm not going to be able to talk about as much, and that was, have you planned a lap of the world? Yes, we have, but I can't talk about Fight Club right now, so bear with us, but stay tuned. Following on from that, our same user here, Felix, has asked, have you experienced an 80s, 90s Mercedes W124 or 201, and what was my opinion of them? So, actually, yes, I have experienced one, but it's going to be in a weird context, so I don't think I'm going to be able to form a real opinion of the car as Mercedes intended. So I got pulled on for a Lemons race. That's been a long time ago now. Quite a few years ago, I got pulled on for a Lemons race, and the team was using what I think is the correct, it's at least the correct body style, having done Googling. I am not a Mercedes aficionado, so do not crucify me here for mislabeling a car, but the body style at least was correct for one of these this generation of Mercedes in a Lemons car form. So it was Mercedes chassis and suspension and body work, and I believe I think it was still a factory engine in it, or at least the factory. We started with the factory engine in it, as the case is a lot of times in the the kind of beer can $500 racing leagues. But we were doing an event at Carolina Motorsports Park. Went down there, and they had this Mercedes, the squirting Coronas, and I was having fun with it. I think what I would say about that car is it was very uncomfortable to drive. They had just a straight aluminum Kirky racing seat in it. To meet safety requirements, but kind of the cheapest option that would meet the safety requirements and let you run a Hans and harness safely. And it did not, with just my proportions, I guess, it was not a good fit. Like, I was having to flex my legs to keep them from going numb, and my shoulders were extremely sore by the end of that one, just because I was just in a really kind of funky driving position. But other than that sort of personal discomfort, it was actually a pretty fun car to drive. The handling balance was really good, and it had decent enough power. I was passing a lot of people in that car until it blew up. Yeah, so again, not the best example of that car to form an opinion from, but it was entertaining. I would 100% be curious how a legitimately well sorted one of those would go. But yeah, so that was good story time there, I guess. How do you like this kind of Mercedes, Richard? Well, I blew one up one time. It was great. So there you go. But yeah, so now moving on to what you can look forward to. So this week we had the last installment from G2 that we're going to do for now anyway, and we may end up back there at some point in the future. For now, we are going to move on then to some other stuff. So you can look forward to coming up. We're going to have we haven't done a track update video in a while, so that's going to be, I think the next thing you watch will be a track update, as in new tracks that are existing places. And then we will probably have a little more NSX content in there. I am, as you can see in the background here with the lids and trunks and stuff open, we are doing a little bit of work on that car. As I implied in the last video, we're trying to make a fairly thorough pass to make sure that it is ready for summer and fall adventures. And if nothing else, NS Expo this year is in Seattle, so there's quite a lot of ground to cover to get up there, and then do a couple of days at the Ridge Motorsports Park in September, I think is when that is. Yes, September. So, some NSX content coming up, more NSX content coming up. Much as I joked around with, I gave Chris Lum NSX a shout out in a previous installation of this, and we joked in the comments about trying to get out of the NSX DIY business, but I don't know how successful either of us are going to actually be at that. But maybe someday it'll just be all driving and no wrenching, but that day is not today. So we'll have some updates coming up on that, and then we'll have I think after that though we're going to get into some more experiments as far as contents are concerned. It's all going to be track, road trip, and racetrack or racetrack related, but it'll be a little bit off the beaten path for some of what you've seen on the channel so far. But I think it's good to experiment from time to time and see what sticks. So, with that said, I think that's about all. That's pretty much what we wanted to cover this week. So hopefully everybody's having a good Friday. I hope I've from the comments last time, yeah, I do deliberately publish these mid-morning on Friday because, you know, you get to work and then you do some stuff and then it gets to be that time, and I like to help you, you know, make the most of the of your time at work, if you know what I mean. So anyway, don't let your legs go numb, and thanks for watching. I'm Richard. This is Lap of the World, and we'll see you guys in the next video, if not at the track.